Are you protecting yourself against, is this really the FedEx guy? Well, I don't know, it kind of looks like him, but his truck's not there. Johnny Long, a friend of ours, used this badge for years and years on his red teaming. How long has it been since AT&T has serviced stuff in the field? But he, you know, I'm here, I gotta service your phones. Okay, sir, here is our most sensitive wiring closet. Go nuts. So of course, train your people. What does this have to do with training your people about social engineering? This is a story, let me double check, we're about quarter after, we got a few more minutes? Yeah. This is a story from some of my friends in the Beltway. They decided to do a test of their own facility. They were authorized to. But in the framework of what they did, they said, all right, let's assume we were like fired and we came back the next day to screw around. And this is the entire thing they were armed with was a BK Tender Crisp and a Sprite. Because they said, all right, how are we going to do that? Well, we'll just roll with it. So Toon and Rob go in and they say, hey, you know, Gerard, the security guard, how you doing today, man? And they know the guys. They know, everyone knows the security guard at the desk, right? Hey, what are you guys doing today? Are you supposed to be here? No, it's our day off. Oh, yeah, I figured it was, you know, because you're not even dressed for work. They had no badges or anything. They said, oh, yeah, man, you know, we're going to meet, you know, Kate for whatever, for lunch, but she's not around. Yeah, I don't know if she's here either. At first they said, we're delivering this, you know, to Kate. They said, oh, I don't think she's here. He was like, oh, man. Well, did they ever give you lunch, man? Come on. And they just started bantering with him. You know, you work so hard. Do you want a BK Tender Crisp? And the guy was so happy to get a free lunch that just on cue, the young guy goes, hey, wait, man. Weren't we gonna pick up your laptop today? I said, oh, yeah, I left that. Well, where'd you leave? Well, I was running network captures. I think it's in the server room. Security guard badged them into the whole facility, took them into the server room, let them take equipment, which was, I think, officially part of their purview of that test, but they just kind of grabbed a laptop they saw sitting there just so they could, like, say they did it, and, like, let them out again. All because he knew them, because they were friendly, and because he got a free meal out of it. That's insane. But that happens all the time at all of our companies. You know, training your people to stop someone and actually say, wait a minute, who are you? What are you doing here? Really getting that in their head and then verifying their story, actually following it up with some level of authentication, that's important. I've seen companies with a sign like this internally. And at first I was like, man, that must really encourage a culture of like angriness when you're just yelling at your coworker. But all company execs I've talked to, they said, since we did this, it's been great. People actually feel like they're taking responsibility for the company seriously. Part of the reason is they followed it up, not with punishment, but with reward. The reason you beat this with this. You say, there's going to be, in the next 6 months, someone in here who doesn't belong in here. Whoever finds the person, you don't like, you know, tackle them, and it's just like authenticate them. If you figure out who it is, you win a dinner at Ruth's Chris, or you win a bottle of 12-year Jameson, or whatever. Little dumb reward, like this is, what, a $75 reward for potentially you just hired half your staff as additional security by doing that. Think about that. Think about all of that. Completely separate from this, but something I love to pitch because most people don't know about it, there is a whole field of forensic locksmithing. Keys inside of locks will touch the pins in a very predictable way. They will wear down the components of a lock in a very predictable way. You can take a lock that's been in the field, tell approximately how long it's been in the field. Well, you can't. You could pay me to. But you know, we could tell you how long your locks have been in service. We can tell you if something has been in the lock that is not a key. It is absolutely possible to identify certain scratches, certain marks that are not wear and tear. This is admissible evidence in court in certain instances. Saying, oh, this lock was clearly picked, this lock was raked. We can tell you what techniques were used. If you have a break-in, and it's a surreptitious break-in of some kind, you will be surprised, maybe, how your insurance company reacts to that news. When they say, oh, we'll send someone right out. Show us the door. Like, is it off the hinges? Well, no. All right, well, did they come in like a window? No. What, did they come in a roof? Is it missing? Show us the rope hanging down your air vent. And like, no, dude, like someone picked in. Companies will sometimes say, insurance companies will be like, well, no, we're not paying this. You had bad key control. You had bad management. You had a rogue employee. Actually being able to verify that, no, someone with no skill, you know, stood there, ripped this lock up, or even someone with really good skill is going to leave a couple of marks that are documentable, marks that you can testify about in court, all because tools will touch pieces of the lock where they shouldn't normally be able to be touched. It's really, it's a field that I found amazing when I first got into it, And now I and a fellow named Datagram out on the West Coast have done a lot of really cool research in it. He's the guy people turn to out there. We're here on the East Coast. If you ever have weird questions, it's a real eye-opener when you think of even bumping. I used to think, oh, bumping is like a key. It's going to just touch what a key touches, right? That's like, ooh, forensic problem. No, bumping pounds the crap out of locks. Bumping will jam all over the place in a lock, and there's marks like that as well. You shine the right light on something, you really zoom in, you'll see awful dents. These are all pieces of evidence that you can submit, and many times when my friends, especially in Europe, have had testimony that's turned over on discovery, like just cases just get dropped. They're like, oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, you guys had someone actually picking their, we didn't think that actually happened outside of like James Bond films. Okay, here's your check, please. Potentially, really a lot of economic impact, and if you understand this, that's why I wanted to throw that in. It's something that most people don't even know is a field, but knowing that this information and evidence is out there could potentially save you a lot of money. So I pop that little bit of knowledge in your noggins. Other than that, which locks are which locks are, different categories? There's a million of them, as I say. There are plenty types of manufacturers out there. These are just a small list of my favorites. Ask me later which ones are which. I can talk to you forever. I will bore you talking about locks before, we run out of booze at the bar. But does some of this making sense? Is it kind of clear? I'm not putting you to sleep at the last talk of the day. You're a real quiet crowd. I'm not used to the non-black t-shirt crowd. I hope everyone, there should be beers out there. I should hear bubbles blowing and things. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening. I want to let you have some questions. Yes, sir.
Quick question on the forensic side of it. What would be the implications of, say, a softer than steel pick, like, say, something like Zytel or something along that line? Does that still show up?
Gadsden asks, what if you're using non-steeled metal or just softer material to pick? Many times, one of two things will happen. Either A, the picking is completely frustrated, like the pit tool just bends, or at a real microscopic level, like you're using borescopes to detect this, you'll get material transfer. You'll get material in the lock, little fibrous material that does not belong at all, and you can at least document that. Yes, sir.
Forensic review of the lock, can you tell the difference between
An attempt versus a success? Very good question. Not usually. The question is, can you tell just from the forensic side whether something was successful? There would probably be ways like, let's say, a bypass. If someone uses a shimming attack or something like a real no-brain attack that will either just always succeed, I'll be like, all right, someone knew what this thing was. Clearly, they stuck it in the right place. I imagine they must have gotten in. Or if marks, let's say again on a shimming attack, if marks are far enough down inside the shackle retention latch, I'll be like, well, if this person didn't get in, then it's like they opened the lock and walked away because clearly the tool was in the right place. Most of the time, no. You can't tell, and you're relying on something like, oh, we've got crap missing. This stuff was here, and now it's not here on Monday, and this is in the lock. I imagine those aren't two separate events, but that's the answer there, hopefully. Yes, sir?
Maybe taking from like the extreme unpickable side,
Mm-hmm.
we're showing the cable locks that don't seem to have the keys to them, say, sometimes driving into the setting. Are those, is there any known way to pick those? I mean, you're saying unpickable, but almost nothing is unpickable.
I think the one lock you sort of mentioned was, would you say the self-powering safe dial was the one question you had? That is definitely in the category of locks that have no known attack whatsoever. And at that point, you're like, even if the best person, fully legit with, no one's going to stop them and they're called out to your facility, they're going to disassemble the lock. They're going to rip like the door out. So yeah, nothing is, fully unpickable like marketing style, but there are some things like unpickable, like in quotes. Yes. That's a really neat question because you don't think about it that often. The gentleman says, can something be too secure? Can you either be so secure that you're locked out, or a really neat question you said is, what about extra keys? Some companies, it's really hard to get duplicate keys. So if you need them, you probably have them already for new hires. What do you do with them? I would put all those kind of, keys, like I have, a lot of my keys are in one of my gun safes actually, which is behind an abloy, or in a safe locked with, a Moss Hamilton. The idea of what if you get locked out, In my opinion, you should have already, like, that should be in your business plan. The idea